Oh, I am back. Carlos R. Hernandez, and is this for week two? The assignment of the classroom observation. So again, I just enjoy doing videos. I'm much more articulate in my language for this. I don't have a slideshow for it because I'm gonna pretty much do my observation. I have a paper for it as well, and with my abstract. So my abstract gives again part of my observation, but I'd like to tell it and kind of show it visually because of what I saw in the classroom or in these lessons. Um, Kind of would be better actually to do it by video. So I ended up observing Mrs. Sanchez from Sunflower Elementary School. Mrs. Sanchez is the second grade teacher, and she actually is my partner. She's the second grade lead teacher. She's my partner. She's been teaching only in elementary school. She taught kindergarten, and then she has been teaching second grade, I believe, for about 4 years. Now this is her fourth year in second grade, and she's been teaching a total of about 9 years in the classroom. She's been teaching since she was about 22, 23 years old. Um, and yeah, she's been at Sunflower for I believe 4 years now. So it's been great. It's been great working with her. She's the lead teacher, and she was short notice. She's the teacher that I had to observe, and luckily she does have a student teacher there that she did share with me that she sometimes breaks out in breakout rooms because by law, according to our district, we're not allowed to have breakout rooms unless we have a person that is hired by the district with the students. And since I'm by myself, I don't have that option, but at least she does with the student teacher. In this observation, she did not go into breakout rooms that I witnessed. She did vocabulary. And the lesson was very interesting. So there were 8 words in the lesson, 8 vocabulary words. And with the Zoom, she had a slideshow. And she would bring up the word. She would read the word, blend the word, say the word, say the definition, have the students, say it as well. And then eventually she had them, match the words with definitions that were shared. But the main takeaway of this lesson that was different from what I hadn't seen other teachers do, and I honestly don't do it myself, is the animation that she adds on to it in terms of her hand signals. I am animated when I teach. I move my hands. I'm very expressive with my face. But the thing is, she had specific hand motions that she created for each word. An example is like where it's like sticky floor. She would put like her hands like sticky, and she would have a motion for each one. I don't recall them off the top of my head, but the thing about it is she would have the students also when they said the definition or said the word, they would have to imitate the motion. So that helped, I noticed, the English language learners and even the general students remember the words more easy, right? Or easier, so to speak. And because they would be able to tie those motions to the word. Um, that to me is what stuck out the most and what was the big strength of her lesson, because that added a different dynamic that most teachers don't have or is not common with teachers. I mean, even myself that I've taught for years, even though I add animation and I'm very, animated, I don't have specific, I don't develop specific hand motions for each type of vocabulary word. So that was very unique. And then when I observed the math lesson, her math lesson was about adding and adding with tens. And it was a very general lesson. It was very common to how I do it. Difference with me is I make mine, I'm a detective in mine, and all the kids are, all my students are detectives. And I do each problem as that we're solving cases. So I add that like dynamic to it. But again, her biggest thing was, she had example problems. She showed example. She called on students, and they had to explain it. But again, what threw me off, what I didn't expect even, was that she had hand motions for each thing, like where it was like, oh, I'm gonna plus, right, and then we split a 10. That to me, I don't do that, which is kind of weird because that's such a simple thing to add, even if I don't know how to do it in vocabulary, maybe even in math. Just because when kids are like, all right, guys, what's next? We split the 5 to make a 10, right? And or we put them together, right? I can maybe make mine a little more unique, but that had let the students, they would remember the steps that way. And that was very strong about her lessons. For my analyzation, after I discussed with her the lessons, I mean, I talked to her pretty much daily, but when we discussed it about English language learners, like ELL learners, um, I honestly didn't have much to change with her lesson. There's two things that maybe I said, do we ever provide? I don't do it. I mean, but we probably should is provide Spanish resources for the students. One advantage that I have over her with my ELL learners is I do know Spanish, not fluent, but I know enough that I can communicate with parents and I'm able to communicate with the student if and I can say it in both English and Spanish. Mrs. Sanchez unfortunately does not know any Spanish and cannot translate. So she does not have that connection with the student. Maybe, and that could be why she over time learned how to become so animated with her hands. And I didn't develop that skill because I can strictly speak their language. So I can connect with them, you know, English to Spanish, Spanish to English, and I don't have to be so animated. So maybe that was just a skill she acquired over time. It's kind of like when you go to a different country and you're like, I need a car to go to the like store. Like you get that life skill when you don't know a language. So it could be that that's how she did it. Um, and yeah, so those were my two observations. Again, from Mrs. Sanchez, and in the paper that I attached to it, you'll have the YouTube video link, and you will have Mrs. Sanchez's information as well. Thank you very much.